I'm Celia Orwin. I'm 18 years old now. But this story starts when I was 13. It was my 13th birthday. We had a small party in our backyard in Franklin, Tennessee. There were almost 30 people there. Most of them were my sister Solen's cheer friends and their parents. I only knew a few of the kids. The rest were just people I had seen before but never really talked to. I was standing in front of my birthday cake. I took a deep breath. I was about to blow out the candles. I had imagined this moment a lot in my head. I thought maybe this year my birthday would feel special. But I was wrong. My mom had been drinking wine that someone brought. She was laughing and talking loudly. She put her arm around Solen. Then she said something I will never forget. Sometimes I honestly wish you were never born. This house would be so much calmer. The words hit me like a cold bucket of water. Everyone went quiet. The music stopped. The laughter stopped. Even the wind outside seemed to hold its breath. Before anyone could say anything, my sister Solen added, in the fake sweet voice she always used when she wanted to sound nice but really wasn't. Mom, seriously, she ruins everything. No one spoke. No one told them to stop. A few of Solen's cheer friends giggled behind their cups. Some of the parents looked down at the ground. My dad just kept flipping burgers on the grill like nothing had happened. My hands went numb. My face felt ice cold. I put the cake knife down slowly on the table. I didn't slam it. I didn't cry. I just walked inside the house. But before I continue, hit the subscribe button and tell me where are you watching this from, and what time of day is it? That night before I left, I looked back at the house one last time. I whispered, fine. From now on, just pretend I'm already dead. Then I left with only my backpack. 5 years later, everything was chaos. My family never expected what happened next. I've always been the extra kid. The one who nobody notices. The one who is just there. From my first memory, my sister Solen was always the favorite. She was the one everyone praised. The one everyone loved to talk about. She started cheering when she was 7. By the time she was 9, she was already the captain of her junior squad at Battleground Academy. Mom and Dad made sure everyone knew how amazing she was. They bought her new uniforms every season. They bought her bows with shiny stones that sparkled under the stadium lights. They paid for private cheer lessons in Nashville. They sent her to cheer camps in Atlanta. When Solen led her squad to nationals in 8th grade, Dad rented a party bus for her whole team. Mom threw a huge watch party at the country club. Everyone clapped. Everyone cheered. Everyone celebrated Solen. I begged them to let me try cheer. They gave me Solen's old shoes. They were 2 sizes too big. The bottoms were worn smooth. On the first day I slipped and fell. Everyone laughed. Dad told me cheer wasn't for me. Solen also rode horses. She started when she was 10. She had special riding clothes. She competed in shows all over Tennessee, Kentucky, and Georgia. She came home with ribbons and big silver cups. Mom turned the upstairs bonus room into a trophy room just for Solen. It was full of awards, ribbons, and photos. I loved horses too. I asked for lessons every birthday. Every Christmas. Every time. The answer was always the same. No. Those lessons are for Solen. You'll just hold the coach back. Sometimes, I was allowed to feed a neighbor's old horse. That was it. That was all. When Solen turned 9, she got the biggest bedroom in the house. It was painted purple. It had a walk-in closet. It was hers alone. The second biggest bedroom became her cheer room. It had shelves for trophies, racks for uniforms, a full-length mirror with lights. She had bins for all her hair bows, organized by color. I slept on the pull-out couch in the basement. There was no real door. Just a sliding barn door that never closed all the way. The air vent barely worked. In summer, it was like a sauna. In winter, I had to wear 3 hoodies to stay warm. My clothes were kept in plastic boxes under the stairs. When relatives visited, they got the guest room. I stayed on the couch. Mom said I was low maintenance. That's what she called me. Easy. Quiet. Invisible. Weekends belonged to Solen. Dad loaded the trailer with her tack boxes. He drove her to horse shows in Lexington, Atlanta, or Birmingham. They left Thursday night and came back Sunday evening. They brought home ribbons and stories about how Solen cleared every jump clean. I stayed home to mow the yard or clean the horse trailer when they got back. If I asked to go, Dad would sigh and say, "You'd just be bored in the bleachers all day." Mom filled the church bulletin board with pictures of Solen. Every week there were new photos. Solen mid-stunt. Solen on horseback. Solen holding another trophy. People stopped her after service to tell her how proud the whole congregation was. My straight A's never made the board. When I won the school spelling bee in 6th grade, Mom said good job and then immediately asked Solen if her show coat still fit. Dad's morning routine was always the same. He would back the truck out of the garage. Look at me in the rearview mirror. Don't cause trouble today, he'd say. Then he would drive off with Solen to early practice. That was my life. Being the extra kid. The quiet one. The one who learned fast that asking for anything only reminded everyone how much less I mattered. The week before my 13th birthday, Solen had her own party at the equestrian club. It was huge. They rented the indoor arena. Brought in a DJ who played country remixes. They set up pony rides for little kids. There was a full dessert bar. And a 3-tier cake shaped like a horseshoe. She wore a white riding outfit with rhinestones and a sash that said Birthday Princess. Mom spent a month planning it. Dad took the day off to help hang the lights. My birthday was just called a family barbecue. Saturday afternoon, the backyard was packed. Almost 30 people showed up. Mostly Solen's current cheer squad. A few kids from her riding team. Some parents. A few church friends. Only 2 kids from my grade came. They looked like their moms forced them to come. The grill was smoking. Someone had a Bluetooth speaker blasting Luke Combs. Mom set up folding tables with checkered cloths even though the sun was still high. She baked a single-layer vanilla cake from a mix. Slapped on some canned frosting. Put 13 candles in a circle. I was wearing the same hoodie I wore to school the day before because nobody remembered to get me anything new. Solen was still in her rhinestone riding jacket taking pictures with her friends on the patio furniture. Dad handed me the knife and said, "Hurry up. The food's getting cold." I leaned over the cake. Cheeks puffed. Ready to blow out the candles. That's when Mom said it. She had been sipping from a plastic cup of cheap wine. She laughed too loud, put an arm around Solen, and said right there in front of everyone, "Sometimes I honestly wish you were never born. This house would be so much calmer." Everything froze. The music kept playing, but every conversation stopped. A couple of the younger girls gasped. One dad coughed into his beer. Solen didn't miss a beat. She flipped her ponytail and added, "Mom, seriously, she ruins everything." My face went ice cold. My fingers went numb. Nobody corrected them. Nobody said, "Hey, that's too far." A few of Solen's friends giggled behind their cups. Dad just flipped another burger like he hadn't heard a thing. I set the knife down on the table. Slow. Deliberate. Didn't slam it. Didn't cry. I turned and walked inside. Past the sliding glass door. Past the cooler. Down to the basement. My room. Or at least the couch I slept on. Nobody offered me a soda. Nobody cared. I dragged the old Chromebook out from under the couch. The one with the cracked corner. I grabbed every t-shirt and pair of jeans that still fit. My hoodie with the hole in the sleeve. My toothbrush from the half-bath nobody else used. I opened the coffee can hidden behind the furnace. $320 in crumpled 5s and 10s from sweeping the church parking lot and walking neighbors' dogs. I stuffed everything into my backpack. Tore a sheet out of an old notebook. Wrote 6 words in black Sharpie big enough so they couldn't miss it. I'm gone. Don't look for me. I left it dead center on the kitchen island, right on top of the paper plates. I walked back through the yard. The party had already started up again. Someone turned the music louder. Mom poured herself another cup. Solen posed on the picnic table for a group photo. I didn't look at any of them. I pushed open the side gate and stepped onto the sidewalk. For blocks under the orange street lights of Franklin. Past the big white houses with perfect lawns. Past the corner where the light always flickered. My grandparents' little brick house sat quiet at the end of the street. Porch light glowing. I got there just after 1 o'clock in the morning. Knocked softly. Grandma opened the door. Hair in curlers, old robes. She took one look at me and pulled me inside without a word. Just held me while everything I'd been carrying for years finally came out. Grandma closed the door behind me that night. That was the last time I ever slept under the same roof as Orwin. Their little one-story brick house sat 4 quiet blocks away. Paid off since the 1980s. Grandpa had been the head mechanic at Franklin Ford for 30 years. Grandma ran the front office at the dental practice. They gave me the back bedroom the same night. Twin bed, old oak dresser, window that looked at the magnolia tree. Grandpa started my real education the next morning. Out in the garage by 6 o'clock. Him in his faded Dickies. Me in yesterday's clothes. He taught how to gap spark plugs on his 1988 F-150. How to bleed brakes without making air pockets. How to hear the difference between a bad bearing and a loose belt just by listening. On Saturdays, we drove to the Harpath River with 2 cane poles and a can of corn. He showed me how to bait a hook so the catfish wouldn't steal it, how to keep my line in the shade, how to wait instead of rushing. Grandma took over house lessons. She taught me real Southern cooking, how to make buttermilk drop biscuits that didn't need rolling, how to fry okra so it didn't turn slimy, how to turn one chicken into 3 dinners. Every Sunday after church, she sat me at the kitchen table with her checkbook and her calculator. She showed me how to track every single dollar, so it worked for you instead of you working for it. She said, "Poor is a mindset, but broke is only temporary." And for the first time in my life, I felt like maybe I could be someone important. Maybe I mattered. I started driving when I was 15 years old with a learner's permit. That means I could practice driving, but I had to have someone with me. My first real job was at a coffee shop called Just Love Coffee on Curthers Parkway. I had to wake up very early, at 4 a.m. It was still dark outside, and I would walk a whole mile to get there. When I got to the shop, I unlocked the door, turned on the espresso machine, and started making coffee. I would pull shots and pour drinks until the line of people was out the door by 6 a.m. It was hard work, but I liked it. I got tips in a jar, and the boss paid me cash every Friday. I felt proud that I was earning my own money. During the summer, I had another job. I cut grass for people in the older neighborhoods around my town. I had a push mower, a weed eater, and a leaf blower. I would work from house to house, sometimes cutting 25 lawns in a summer. Each lawn paid $80, and I got it in cash too. I liked that I could see the work I did and get money for it. In the winter, I worked at the church library. I went there 3 nights a week from 6 to 10 p.m. I helped kids with their homework while I did my own in the back. I liked helping the kids, and it also gave me a quiet place to study. One day, something terrible happened. My grandpa had a heart attack while he was under Mrs. Henderson's minivan. I came home from school and found him in the driveway. It was scary and sad. He lasted 2 days in the hospital at Williamson Medical. Everyone in the family was upset. At his funeral, some people stood at the back left before the graveside. Solen sent flowers but didn't come to the service. My grandma kept going, even though she was sad. But she got sick with pancreatic cancer, which is a very serious illness. 6 months later, she went to hospice because she was very sick. She passed away the week I turned 18, right after graduation. After the funeral, we went to the lawyer's office in the Franklin Square house for the will reading. Grandpa left me something special. He had a paid-off car, a Chevy, and $41,000 in savings. He gave it all to me because I was the only grandchild and already an adult. It was simple and clear. I didn't need to go through any complicated legal steps in Tennessee because it was very straightforward. That summer, I worked even more. I took the morning shift at the coffee shop, and I ran the church library 4 nights a week. I saved every single paycheck I earned. I even filled out the FAFSA for college, all by myself. I went to the public library and used their computer, typing line by line. I wrote my college essays in the back of the library and printed them, paying a few dimes for each page. My school counselor, Ms. Eudora, read my final draft and told me I was ready to submit it. I did, and I felt proud of what I accomplished. In April, a thick envelope arrived from the University of Tennessee. I had gotten a full scholarship to Knoxville for mechanical engineering. That meant they would pay for my tuition, housing, meals, almost everything. I just had to pay for books and a little pocket money. I packed my old Jansport backpack, a few shirts, and my Chromebook. I also had a suit from Goodwill for interviews and other important occasions. After the funeral, I changed the locks on the house on Cedar Lane, just in case. Standing in the driveway that morning, holding the keys in my hand, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. I felt free. 5 years of hard work and saving every penny had turned into a future that I built with my own hands. Not one of the people who shared my last name had helped me get here. That summer, I finally felt like I could breathe. I had the house to myself, the acceptance packet from the University of Tennessee on the kitchen table, and a countdown on my phone, 47 days until move-in day. I worked double shifts, saving every dollar, imagining dorm life, meeting new people, and going to a campus 3 hours away where nobody knew my last name. Then, one random Tuesday evening, my phone buzzed. It was a notification I hadn't seen in 5 years. Mom had created a new group chat called Orwin Thornfield Wedding 2025. The first message was a 30-second video. In the video, Solen was on one knee in a sunflower field outside Lapper's Fork. He wore a cowboy hat, and he had 190,000 TikTok followers. He held out a ring that caught the golden sunlight. She screamed and jumped into his arms. He spun her around, and the drone camera pulled back to show the whole field. The caption read, "She said yes to forever, y'all." I stared at the video longer than I should have. Then the messages started pouring in. Mom wrote, "God is so good. We are blessed. The wedding is set for next June at Southall Farm. Big barn, 200 guests, flowers, live band, fireworks. The budget is $200,000. Every family member should help. Celia, you own Grandma's house now, so we all need you to contribute $18,000. Family helps family." I sat on the tailgate of Grandpa's old Chevy Boots, holding iced coffee in my hand. I reread the message like it was in a language I didn't understand. Rael, my friend, pulled up in his Jeep for our usual Tuesday night drive-in movie plan. He looked at my face and turned off the engine. I handed him the phone without saying a word. He scrolled through the messages jaw tight and handed it back. He just said, "They really typed that out again in front of everyone." I stared at the screen until the words blurred. Then I typed one word in the chat, "No." The typing bubbles appeared, disappeared, and reappeared. "Mom, this isn't a request." "Solen, are you serious right now?" "Mom," again longer. And there it was. Word for word, the same sentence that had hurt me when I was 13. "Sometimes I honestly wish you were never born. This house would be so much calmer." I felt the air leave my lungs. Not hurt, just empty. Rael watched me quietly. I didn't cry or yell. I opened every app one by one. Contacts, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook Messenger, Snapchat, Cash App, Venmo. I blocked everyone, even the wedding hashtag account. Every digital connection was gone in under 4 minutes. The group chat vanished from my phone like it had never existed. I looked at Rael. He nodded. The next day, I ported my old phone number to Google Voice that went straight to voicemail. I bought a new SIM card at Walmart for $20. Peace of mind. That night, I slept deeper than I had in years. The next morning, I woke up to 53 missed calls from private numbers and a full voicemail inbox. I deleted everything without listening. By noon, cousin texts started arriving. Mom is crying nonstop. Solen is devastated. $18,000 isn't even that much when you own a house. She blocked everyone. Solen posted a TikTok that same afternoon. She sat in her truck, with no filter, mascara streaks down her face. She said, "When your own sister refuses to help pay for your wedding after everything we've been through, it hurts." She showed an old childhood photo Mom always used and added sad music. She let the comments from strangers do the rest. The video got 3 million views in one day. People found my LinkedIn profile and my high school graduation posts. Rael tagged local news stations. Someone even made a burner account called Celia Exposed and posted my address with a skull emoji. My voicemail is filled with strangers quoting scripture and calling me Jezebel. Aunt Lysandra showed up 6 days later. She arrived in her white Tahoe at 8:30 in the morning. She was still wearing her floral church dress from the day before. Her eyes were red and swollen from crying. She pounded on the door. I watched her on the doorbell camera for a full minute before I opened the door 3 inches. She started talking before I could say anything. "Celia Marie Orwin, you get out here right now. Blood is thicker than water. You are breaking your mama's heart into a million pieces. Jesus wants families to be whole, not torn apart over money." She kept talking, voice cracking. She said I should forgive my family, that Solen was crying herself to sleep every night, and that I was being selfish. When she finally stopped crying, I said, "You said what you came to say. Please leave my property." I closed the door, locked it, and turned off the porch light even though it was still daytime. She stayed outside crying loudly for another 25 minutes before finally driving away. My dad showed up at Rael's Saturday morning shift at Just Love Coffee. He wore steel-toe boots and mirrored sunglasses. He didn't order anything. He stood right in front of the register while the line was 12 people deep. He shouted for everyone to hear. He said, "You tell that little thief I raised that if she doesn't pay her share for her sister's wedding, I'm filing a police report for the Garmin watch and cheer money she stole when she ran off at 13. Rael didn't flinch. He just smiled the same way he always does when rude people try to scare him. He said, "Sir, you have 10 seconds to leave before I call Franklin Pay myself." Dad slammed the door so hard that the bell fell off. The owner of the coffee shop reviewed the security footage, banned my dad for life, and posted it on Instagram with his face blurred. The caption read, "We protect our people." It got 30,000 views in one day. Mom went full martyr online. She posted at 2 a.m. in a private Facebook group for Franklin First Baptist Women. She wrote 800 words about how I was a rebellious teen, addicted to video games, stole from the family jar, ran away, and now refused to help with my sister's wedding. She attached the same childhood photo and crying emojis and added a Cash App link for donations. The post spread to the main church page and neighborhood groups within 20 miles. By Wednesday, my old high school teachers were texting me, asking if I was okay. So Len posted another TikTok Thursday night. She used a dark bedroom, ring light on low, mascara running, and told her side of the story. She said, "Your little sister got addicted to video games, stole your stuff, ran away at 13. And now, she ghosts the whole family and refuses to help with your wedding." She showed the old note I left on the kitchen island. The video went viral, 3 million views in 36 hours. The comments were full of strangers judging me. People found my LinkedIn, my graduation posts. Some made burner accounts to share my address. My voicemail filled with people quoting scripture, calling me Jezebel. Everything felt heavy and scary. But I stayed calm. I had cut all connections with my family online, and I had my new phone number. I had Rail in my own home. I had worked hard for every dollar, every opportunity. I knew that some doors, once closed, had to stay nailed shut for my own safety. I had learned that working hard and taking care of myself could give me freedom, even when people who should have loved me most made things complicated. I had my house, my scholarship, my savings, and my own future. And I had learned that sometimes the only person you can truly depend on is yourself. One woman left a voicemail that was 5 minutes long. She was crying really hard. She said I was hurting the church and making everyone upset. I didn't delete anything. I saved everything she sent or said. I took screenshots of messages, recorded some of the calls, wrote down the times and dates when things happened, and I forwarded the worst threats to the Franklin police and to the school's Title IX office. I wanted them to have a record of what was happening before school started again. Rail and I had to change everything we did. We had to be careful all the time. I started parking 2 streets away from work and walking in through the back door, so no one could see me. Rail started carrying his hidden gun, not on his body but in a sling bag, so he could stay safe. We turned off all location services on our phones, so no one could track us. We made our Instagram accounts private, so random people couldn't see what we were doing. We even paid a service to remove our names from every person's search website online. I bought cheap emergency phones just in case we needed to call someone fast. The pressure was so heavy that it felt like it was pressing down on us all the time. Random cars would slowly drive past our house at night, which made us both nervous. Church ladies would leave casseroles on our porch, but the notes on them were not kind. They were passive-aggressive. They wrote about turning the other cheek, but really it felt like they were judging us. So Len posted on social media every day about how many sleepless nights she had, how sad her heart was, and how much she missed her sister. My mom posted GoFundMe updates like they were Bible verses, hoping everyone would help her daughter. But every new attack only made one thing clear to me. I had the right to leave when I was 13 years old. They had not grown up or changed. They were only louder, meaner, and much better at pretending to be the victim. And I was not going to play along with their lies anymore. Mr. Orex Thornfield didn't waste any time. He owns the biggest chain of building supply stores in Middle Tennessee. Kalen, my brother, worked for him part-time doing social media ads in between shooting videos for TikTok. When Kalen came home crying about how Solen's little sister was causing problems for him, Orex listened for about 30 seconds. Then he picked up his phone and called a company. He hired a digital forensics company from Nashville. These are the people that lawyers and insurance companies hire to check phones and computers for proof of messages, posts, or anything deleted. They legally pulled every text message, every deleted TikTok draft, and every iCloud backup from Kalen's old phone that Solen had been using for the last 2 years. It took them 4 full days to get everything. Then Orex called my parents and Solen to his office on a Thursday afternoon. It was a big glass building with Tennessee and Texas flags flying outside. He told them to come alone. No lawyers. Just family. They came thinking it was about wedding money. Orex had a long conference table with bottles of water and a single folder sitting in the middle. He didn't offer them seats right away. He opened the folder and started laying out pages. He showed them printouts of my mom's church posts asking for prayer, screenshots of Solen's fake TikTok story, the exact text where my mom had written, "I wish you were never born," a second time, and even Dad's threat at the coffee shop transcribed from security audio. There was even a photo of the note I had left on the kitchen island when I was 13 that Solen had kept for all these years and posted in a private story that the forensic team recovered. Then Orex slid the last page across the table. It was a sworn affidavit from the forensics company, confirming that everything came from devices registered to Kaylin or Solen. He looked up at them, his face serious and his voice flat as concrete. "Here's how this is going to go," he said. "Solen, you are going to post a full public apology video on TikTok within 24 hours. You will read a script that I approve word for word. In it, you will admit that you lied about your sister stealing things, running away, and everything else you claimed. You will also announce that you and your parents will no longer accept any financial help from Celia. The wedding budget is now entirely on you. If that video is not live by tomorrow night, the wedding is off. I pull my $50,000 commitment. Kaylin loses his job and his truck lease, both in my name. I will also make sure every vendor in a 100-mile radius knows exactly why. Second option, you walk away right now and figure out how to pay for your own party without dragging my son's name through your family mess." Solen started crying immediately. Mom jumped in talking about forgiveness and working it out in the family. Dad tried the kids make mistakes line. Orex didn't raise his voice even once. "I don't care about your excuses," he said. "I care about my son marrying into a family that treats its own blood like trash and then lies to the world about it. Choose." Solen looked at Kaylin. Kaylin looked at the floor. She whispered, "I can't post that. I'll lose everything. My followers, my brand deals. I can't." Orex nodded once, closed the folder, and said, "Weddings postponed indefinitely. Kaylin, the keys to the truck are on my desk. You've got 30 days to move out of the apartment I'm paying for." They all left. Solen was sobbing in the parking lot. Mom was screaming that he was destroying her daughter's life. Dad was red-faced and silent. Kaylin texted Rael that night from a new number. "It's over. Dad killed the wedding. I didn't celebrate or gloat. I just felt quiet." The people who had thrown me away at 13 were finally forced to look in the mirror. And they hated what they saw. Solen's empire collapsed faster than anyone expected. Within a week of Orex pulling the plug, the 5 biggest brands she worked with dropped her. There were polite public statements, but they were very clear. Private emails were even harsher. They included screenshots of her old texts calling me a thief, the church posts, and the note from when I was 13. One by one, contracts were canceled, payments were reversed, free product shipments stopped. Her follower count on social media froze, then started dropping. She went from 190,000 followers to 130 in just 1 month. She ended up taking a job as an admin at a real estate office in Cool Springs. She wore khakis and a polo shirt, answered phones, made copies, and earned $42,000 a year before taxes. Kaylin moved back in with Orex and took a warehouse position at the family company. Mom and Dad got a letter from Franklin First Baptist the following Sunday. The elder board voted unanimously to put them on church discipline. They said it was a temporary suspension of membership privileges for lying, causing trouble, and bringing shame to the church. Translation: no more teaching Sunday school, no more serving communion, no more invitations to potlucks. People still nodded politely in the grocery store, but the inner circle of friends had closed. Mom was removed from her women's Bible study group. Dad's men's breakfast table suddenly had no empty chairs when he walked in. I graduated with honors in mechanical engineering from UT Knoxville. I had a 3.88 GPA. I had done a co-op at Oak Kaylin National Lab and had a full-time job offer even before I walked across the stage at graduation. Rael proposed the night of my graduation with a ring he designed himself in the engineering lab. We got married the next spring in a small chapel on the Harpath River. Only 40 guests came, a few college friends, coworkers, and some neighbors who had watched me grow up after Grandma passed away. We used white folding chairs decorated with wildflowers. I picked barbecue from Martin's for dinner. I wore Grandma's pearl earrings. I smiled for the first time in a long time, and I finally recognized that smile in the mirror. Not a single Orwin was invited. I mailed one extra envelope anyway, a simple thank you card to Mr. Orex Thornfield. I included a photo of Rael and me cutting our small cake. Inside I wrote, "Thank you for showing me that real family isn't always the one you are born into. Sometimes blood isn't thicker than water. Sometimes the people who choose you and stand in your corner when the whole world is screaming lies are the only family that matters." I learned that the hard way at 13 and rebuilt my life on it. Today, when I sign my name Celia Halt, I don't feel like the spare kid anymore. I feel like the one who belongs. That day I finally felt safe. I finally felt loved. I finally felt like I had a family that mattered. The people who had hurt me so much for so many years were gone from my life. And the people who cared for me, who had always been there quietly, were now the ones I could trust. I had survived. I had grown. And I had finally found my own happiness.